Hello, Homeworthy. I am Juan Poggi. Welcome to my home in Coral Gables, Florida. Come in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hello, I am Juan Poggi, an interior designer, and we are at my home in Coral Gables, Miami, Florida. My house, the style it has a Japanese influence because I'm definitely a person that admires, Japanese architecture, design, and the aesthetics. This house has two bedrooms, two bathrooms, and the rest is all entertainment area. I have a foyer that you will see with art work installation, and then dining room, a lounge area where you can sit and have hors d'oeuvres and keep it simple. Or then you have this area where you have a bigger living room and a bigger dining table. So here, this is the foyer. So here's where the house starts. I decided to put oak floors throughout the house, even in the bathrooms. You're gonna see that I kept the oak because I like the warmth, and since everything is in one level, it works out fine. So here, what I did is fell in love with this console from a Japanese designer, Tokujin Yoshioka, and I got it. But then it needed a background, so I did gold leaf. An artist put it all together, but then we muted a little bit so it was not too shiny. This area was created like an art gallery. That's what the architect wanted to do. But a friend of mine, artist that we've collaborated a lot, decided to take the entire wall. So this is a mural by Nelly Garcia. She's a Peruvian artist, photographer, that she did this photo composition of one of her travels to Kyoto in Japan. So she put it together and she installed it, and I love it. It's been with me since I moved to the house, and it is a very kind of staple of the house. Everybody remembers the mural as soon as you come in. Then we have this chair. This chair is called the Oishi chair. I designed it. It won the Kyoto Design Award 2024. And it's basically the synthesis of a geisha. That's why I did it. It's all lacquered. And I did it, you have part of the obi here and the detail. And I painted red because this vermilion red is just so beautiful that I wanted to have a piece that just brings you into the house and shows you a little bit of color, because then the rest doesn't have a lot of color. It's all monochromatic with some splashes. I've been in this house for like 10 years. I bought it in 2012, and then it took me like a year to discover what I wanted to do with the house. I used to come all the time and let the house talk to me. And then, an architect helped me to bring it to fruition, and we were like 10 months of construction because we basically tear it down completely. We left some part of the footprints, and it worked out that way. Okay, and now I am going to take you to the lounge. Okay, so we are in this area where I designed this curved piece that is an homage to the great sculptor Richard Serra. I love his work. He does it in metal, so I decided to do something that has that flow to invite you to the house. These stones I fell in love with. They're from Belgium, from Atelier Bierkant, and I ordered them, and I love just to see them because that's when you come from the foyer, this curve brings you into the house. But I have a secret spot here. I hide the bar. So the bar is all here. So I put a brighter color there, and that's, when you entertain, it's open and it's fun. When you're not entertaining, it just looks like this sculptural piece. From here, we're gonna go to the lounge. Why I call it the lounge? Because it's an area where I put 6 chairs I did one odd one, that's mine. And the height is very special because you can sit here, have a drink, and you don't have to bend down in order to have the drink. I mean, the drink is at this height, you drink, and then if you want to eat something, it's easy. The rock, I decided to put a circle so it will be more inviting for the space. And at the same time, I'm showing some pieces that I have. This is also from the same artist from the front, Nelly Garcia. This is from her beginnings in New York that I bought it a while ago. And then I have this piece here that is a little crooked, but I'm gonna fix right now, by Guillermo Fornes, who is an artist from Spain that lives in Madrid, that he actually gave it to me because I've used his work in several projects. So I keep conversation pieces always close to me. And besides, when you come from the outside and the window is open, it's fantastic. You see that piece is what welcomes you to the house. The other thing that I work in this house, because the ceiling is low, it's 8, I decide to hide every single lighting source. So this is what I call my chandeliers. I put a framing projector inside. A framing projector, it's a kind of light that you can regulate the space that you're going to illuminate. In this case, it just illuminates the table. So, it's the fun part in a way because it's not bothering you. And the rest of the lighting is completely hidden. At night, you won't know where the light comes from. And that I like because of how low is the ceiling. And then I conceal the speakers, and you're going to see them throughout. I think there's one here, because believe it or not, I have 23 speakers in the house. So I'll be mentioning them. And now let me show you the bar kitchen area that I have here. My idea when I started doing this house, it was to create a house that was easy to entertain, to have either a small group where I can cook for them or a large group where we can have space to do everything here. That's my whole concept, is to integrate the entire house so it will be easier to travel. I have 3 doors in the house. That's all I have. The rest is all open plan. I host a lot of dinner parties during the week, at least twice a week. I have people over. I mean, I always say if I'm going to cook for myself, I can cook for more people. It's not a problem. In this area, as you see, is a big counter that I designed also in black granite in a leather finish, which is beautiful. I did the edges in a 45 degrees angle and I polished them to have all these chairs while I can cook and entertain, because here's the stove, so it's easy for me to manage all the cooking. You will see after what I have here, because this is a serious kitchen. This is not a joke. And then what I did, I wanted to have that bar ambiance, that darkness. So at night is pretty sexy, and that's the whole idea. I did not create upper cabinets. I just put 2 1-inch glass shelves to give me space to expose some of the art. That is, again, Nelly Garcia, another piece that I bought from another time that she did a study of the oceans. And then I put other pieces that I got in Japan, stone that I stole from Verona, from the street. And they're collections that I can change them, because that's the flexible part of having a kitchen that is constantly evolving. I always keep fresh vegetables. I always keep tomatoes. I'm famous about having the tomato because that becomes sauce, and then I can entertain you. Okay, the other thing that was recommended by the kitchen experts is, since the house have 8 throughout the house, I can put the exhaust on the ceiling. So I put it on the ceiling. You don't need to have this whole structure because it goes directly there. And I decide to do this white oak structure just to put together the Japanese feel of the space. And it worked out fine. Then, in this corner, I put a piece from Floss, which is a classic piece of lighting. And then what else I did? The light is the same throughout the house. There's some areas where you have more light and some other areas where you don't have much light because it's not needed. The whole idea of my kitchen, I wanted to disappear because it needed to be here because it's the center of the house. So I wanted to disappear and look more like a bar, kind of this structure with all the walnut that I put on the walls and all the elements that are dark in a way, and everybody's focused here. When I'm cooking, everything is happening here. So I have enough light to deliver a beautiful meal. Let's see what I have here. This is all the pieces that I have. Go down, and you can see. We have wine cooler, spice rack, refrigerator, drawer refrigerator, the range, warming drawers, which is something fantastic when you entertain because it keeps the food warm. It doesn't burn it or dry it up. And then it's the white wine cooler. Then here to put away all the stuff. The big drawers for flatware and silverware. And in this area that I'll show you now, it's what I call the breakfast nook. Come on and see it. So I keep the coffee machine, all the coffee cups. I also keep my collection of porcelains that I've been bringing from Japan. My latest thing is wooden pieces. So the last trip that I did in October, I got all wood pieces because I have enough ceramic to entertain. But this is what I call the breakfast nook, and it really works out super well. About how I ended in interior design, it was I went to law school first, and then suddenly in the middle of my studies of law, I decided to take a sabbatic. So I came to the States, and I worked for a year here in the showrooms, and then I fell in love with design. So when I studied, and then I started to work for different companies, doing art direction, doing accessories purchasing in Europe. And then suddenly I decided to create my own company. That was at the beginning of 2003 is when I started Poggi Design. And the rest is history. Okay, and now let me show you the living room. Okay, now we are in the living room, family room, main room, however you want to call it. It is the area where I entertain more people and, we watch TV and all that. I'll show you all the tricks that I have here and hidden spaces. I got this sofa from a Living Divani, so I wanted this configuration. But then the moment that I put it here, I needed other pieces. So I got this chair from Antonio Citerio from Max Alto. And I designed this table because I wanted a big table and with very few elements. But that was important for me to have 1-inch thick glass because that gives you this luxury feel of the glass. And so I custom made it and it worked out really great. That piece of art is from a Cuban artist. His name is Jose Iraola. And I had that piece for a very, very long time. It's been in several of my houses in the living room. The rug was inspired in the Japanese tatamis. That's why I did the black line. And Solstice in Paris, who I work for, they're my rug editors. They did this with texture and this one plain, and they put it together here in Miami that will have the line. I didn't want to make it that obvious, but the inspiration definitely was Japanese tatami. The chairs, these are classic Eames chairs. These two chairs are Collection Pierre by John Hutton. I also decided to do them in black lacquer and do a little bit of leather woven back. And then I did linen, rubberized linen. So it gives me a different texture. That table was designed by Eduardo Martinez. He's an artist from Los Angeles, and he's a dear friend. So for one of my birthdays, he gave me this piece. And here I have a piece from a Peruvian artist. Her name is Patricia Vega. She lives in the Netherlands, and I also purchased that a while ago, and I just love what it brings. It brings a little bit of the sheen of the gold leaf and then the rust color, so it's fine. I'm going to show you something else. You know, since TVs are shallow now, it's very easy to do a unit to hide a TV. So I did this piece with these handles that I designed. These are marine hardware, and this is fake hair that I create this to have something, you know, interesting when you open it, and, excuse me, Sandro, and you have the TV inside. And that way you don't see it all the time, but if you need to use it, it's there and it's hidden. I put some grass cloth wallpaper as well. And the lighting, as you have seen, it's all concealed. You can't see it. The air conditioners are what they call flow bars, which is just a slit on the ceiling. And then we come to this dining room. This dining room, it was supposed to be closed and to open because it has leaves, but it ain't being open all the time. So I designed this library after I moved and closed my office and start working from home. But I wanted a library that did not look like a library. I wanted a very solid piece of furniture based on my Japanese love for wood. And we did it in maple, and it housed all the books and housed the most important thing, my office. This is my office behind these doors. It's a little messy because it's a working office. I mean, it's not just for show. It is a working office. So, you know, I keep my computer there, and I keep all the other pieces that I need. I work here. Sometimes I use the table. So the double function works. If I'm going to entertain, close these sliding doors, and nobody knows there is an office there. So that's a fun part of my design. I like to have things that are not obvious, but they serve a purpose. I will describe my style what I call soft contemporary, because it's easy and it is elaborate, but at the same time you don't see all the work behind, like great lighting, great upholstery, great accessories. You know, all the things are set in a way that they work all together. So I call it soft contemporary. Is what I want to call my work. In my own house, I did several things that I designed myself because I want them to be a certain way. I don't have antiques. I just have maybe a couple of pieces that they could be a little older, but also the pieces are new, contemporary, and there's some lines that I love that I use more from Italian lines. That I like the way the upholstery is done. That's why I try to keep that kind of pieces in my house. Okay, now I'm going to show you my everyday dining room. Okay, this is my everyday dining room. Because, you know, I have the nice view here. I have this piece from this ceramist friend of mine, Malena Mesaga, that she gave me this piece as a gift, and I love it because it just looks like a bronze piece. This is another sculpture that is this fire extinguisher. And this table has something really interesting, that it opens to square. So when I have 8 or 6 or 8, I open it and you'll see it open. And then I have another piece from, this is a Japanese photographer, Hiroshi Sugimoto. And he did a collection of oceans. He photographed oceans throughout the world. And I got a little piece that I got in Buenos Aires at the art fair. And it's really precious, serene, and clean. That's why I love it. I also have this chair that I bought in Paris. There was a collection of broken chairs that I saw at the Musée des Arts Décoratifs, and they did prostheses to fix them. So this is all broken inside, but they did this acrylic piece on top, and in other chairs they put legs and stuff. And the next trip that I went to Paris, they were on sale. So I said, I have to buy and bring one. So that's when I got this piece that everybody thinks that it's lit, but it's not. It's just the acrylic that casts the light, and I love the way it looks there. Just like this odd piece in the dining area. Talking about collecting pieces. Originally, some of the pieces were given me by the artists because they were friends, and and they knew how passionate I was about the pieces. But then, you start finding pieces, or the pieces find you. So I have a very tight collection of pieces that I show in my house, and I don't buy more unless I switch one piece for another. But the collecting part, you just have to put things around you that makes you happy, that makes you feel home, that reminds you of a moment. That piece that I spoke about, it reminds me of a moment going to Buenos Aires and talking to the art dealer. And then I saw his pieces in Japan. So, it just triggers your imagination and puts you in a place that makes you create this exact moment be home. That's how I feel art should bring you home. About the process is it's always getting to know the client and getting to know what they want. Of course, when they come to me, they have already seen either my website or a book, something where I am, where you can see my work. And I work different ways in the projects. There's some projects that I work with the architects from the ground up. We're together, designing flooring, ceiling, bathrooms, kitchen, everything. And there are some other projects that they are already done that I just do the design, the interior design work. So, it's you have many options, to work with me. But what I love the most is to start with a house from the ground up, because you can really educate a client and control everything that goes inside the house. Now I'm going to show you the bedrooms and the hallway to the bedrooms. I did this transition with this dark oak frame because I wanted to differentiate from the rest of the house that we're going to this area. That's a piece from Wilfred Prager. He's French, but he lives in Barcelona. Dear friend of mine, and that is the Althausen Lake. It's a lake in Austria that in the morning you get this kind of diffusion of the image. That's why he did it this way. The ceiling is something interesting here because we spoke about it, that is low. I decided to do the doors without the top part. So, everything integrates and goes through. So that way you don't have that interruption and it doesn't feel low. It feels high. Okay, now we are in the primary area. And since I put very few pieces, I curated everything that went in. From the bed that is by Max Alto, which I love the structure because it's within a room, there is another room here, even though it's virtual because nothing is blocking it. But it's a very nice piece. Then the nightstands, I decided to make them a little less square and more oval, so they were more organic, with not a lot of space to put things because you really don't need it. Then this credenza from the same company. And what else I did? I did decide to do my bathroom in a very different way, inspired again in Japanese design. And I create this soji screen that brings you to the bathroom. So then I put another layer of glass just to give you this illusion of layers. And here I have the bathroom that it's all done with Waterworks hardware. I designed these pieces black granite to be consistent as the rest of the house. This is medicine cabinet by Robert, which is also very nice and is concealed on the wall. The paper, of course, is Philip Jeffries. They have the most beautiful collection of papers. And I have another piece of art here by Daniela Talavera, which is a photographer from Peru. That's where I am from. And I love the idea because there are these two dogs and it's a sweet, sweet photograph. So, and here, the closet, I don't know if you want to see inside, but my colors are very boring, black, white, and a little bit of denim there. But this closet is done by San Giacomo that I just recently changed it, and I'm loving the craftsmanship of the work. And then the rest I use my dark oak, and I kept that theme going throughout the house. And I also have in this corner this mirror by Glass Italia with pivots on its own base, and it's actually thin, nice, and doesn't take a lot of space. The pillows I did with mohair. I just wanted to have like hefty pillows. These lights are very special to me. They're from Ingo Mauder, German designer, lighting designer. And this was a collection also based in Japanese design. This lamp here is by Kevin Watts, an American artist too, sculpture artist. And this is one of his prototypes that he did like 30 years ago, and I kept. So again, these little moments, memories make this homey. I think it's important, about where to spend the money. I think it's important to know the lifestyle of the person that will be living in the house. If the person entertains, then you really have to focus on how you entertain and have all the tools within a house to work that. For me, important is kitchen has to be a key piece in your house. Bathrooms is another key piece in your house because we use them a lot. And then the rest of the house. This is the guest bathroom. Being consistent with all the materials, I keep the same wallpaper, the same granite. I designed a piece of furniture as well. And, I keep it a little bit into the lighting, this shade and light, which I do like the idea of playing that when somebody comes to the room. The hardware is all Waterworks. The stone, it's Spanish limestone in kind of grayish tones, the same one that I have in the other bathroom. So the story is consistent throughout the house. You'll check all the details. I have some pieces by Dolores Palmeiro, a photographer from Argentina that I purchased in Buenos Aires, and it will be fun to see all the details that I put together. I love the most about my house how practical it is, how easy to do everything here because it's like it's open. I work here, and that's something that happened after pandemic that I start working at home because we decide to be at our houses and living in the house and working in the house. I see how organic and easy for me is to be here and how nice also at the same time. So this is the patio area. The way I conceive this space is very clean, just with very few pieces that I need when I entertain, and open space. I also create that wall that I cover with Waterworks handmade Japanese style, which I love the color, how it fuses with the nature behind. The pieces are by Knoll, the furniture that I custom made in that color. And then the way I kept the organized and controlled garden was I put 5 trees and that's it. The rest is gravel on the floor. And that gives me the opportunity of having everything in the back as a backdrop. At night it's lit, so from inside the house it looks amazing. And then I have all this space that is easy to move and to put tables when I entertain and the weather it's as nice as it is right now. I also have these vessels that collect rainwater. They're from Atelier Bierkamp, the same company that does the big zones that I have in front of the curved piece. And basically, that's it. I mean, it's very simple, very clean, very consistent with my design, and visually clean. I think a house becomes a home in the moment that we bring our history to the house. Pieces that remind us of moments in life. You know, once you get older, those pieces make you happy. Just the idea of being comfortable and happy within a place, it what makes it a home. The comfort is a plus. And the space needs to hold you in many ways, whether it's the kitchen, whether it's the dining room. Every place within a house has to be this magical spot to become a home.